crazy power that he believes in. You know, he has a great chin too because he's a guy. You know, he'll let you get out punches, and he'll still be coming at you. And then once he catches you, you know, it's a wrap.
All-time greats. Crawford's one of the best switch hitters, I think, since Marvin Hagler, and one of the most skillful boxers alive.
He has very good skills. He's one of my favorite boxers. He able to.
Errol Spence was left stunned after seeing Terence Crawford's training for the Canelo fight. Having shared the ring with him before, Spence praised Crawford's elite ring IQ and skill set. Watching his recent camp, Errol was blown away by Crawford's speed, precision, and footwork. He called him a monster in motion, sharp, explosive, and laser-focused. Spence warned that this version of Crawford is a dangerous force Canelo cannot underestimate. Reflecting on his fight with Spence, Terence Crawford showed respect for his former rival. Known for his patience and cerebral style, Crawford explained how he breaks opponents down systematically before unleashing devastating flurries.
Hard does Spence hit?
He didn't hit that hard.
Well, he never caught you that clean. That was probably the best shot he landed.
No, he caught me a couple of times, but you know, I was surprised at how hard he didn't hit.
Really?
Given that everybody say, oh, he's a big puncher, he's this. I think he's just a volume puncher. I think he just wears opponents down, just wear them down. I don't think, you know, he has a one-punch knockout. He has power, but it's not like, you know, boom, sleep. You know what I mean? I think it's like, bam, oh, boom, 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 boom. Then he just wear you down.
Right, yeah. That is a difference, right?
Because if you look at his career, you never seen him, like, knock nobody out with one punch. You never see him, you know, dropping nobody with one punch. You always see him, like, wearing them down. That's why he goes so hard to the body, because he want to wear you down. Then once you get tired and once your body start weakening, everything start weakening. And those little punches that wasn't hurting start hurting.
Former world champion Chris Algieri gave a sharp comparison of Canelo and Crawford. He noted that while Crawford has dominated nearly every opponent with control and adaptability, Canelo has had moments of being bossed in the ring. A prime example was his loss to Dimitri Bivol, who used size, jab, and discipline to dictate the fight. Algieri argued that Crawford's style, rooted in control and technical dominance, could create similar problems for Canelo.
Terence Crawford, who do you think can be the boss that night? When you talk about these two guys, you talk about two guys, number one, you can't boss me around.
Yep.
Two guys, you can't even look at me a certain way without me feeling some type of way. These guys now have set their sights on one another, Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Obviously, we know the weight difference, but we've seen Crawford, looks like he's coming up slowly to that weight class and kind of acclimating himself in real time. How do you see that fight playing out?
You know, we're still pretty far away from that fight, and I'm going to hold my complete analytics on that, but I'll tell you this.
Contrast and compare, maybe not a pick.
But I'll tell you this. I've seen Canelo pushed around. I've never seen Terence pushed around. So when you're talking about who's going to be the boss, I've never seen anyone boss Terence Crawford. I've seen Canelo get bossed. So that just psychologically, when you think about that, and this is a fight where I flip-flop on both guys because there's so many good points. Yeah, but he's 168. Yeah, but it's Terence Crawford. He's undefeated. Well, yeah, no, this guy's beating this, but you know, stylistic. Even he hits him on the arm. There's so many different things you can talk about. But from a psychological standpoint, who's fresher, who's meaner, who wants it more? You know, that's going to come into play.
As a boxing fan, how much fun is it to see those two attitudes come together? It's kind of like the unstoppable force versus the immovable object getting ready to collide.
I've worked a lot of Canelo fights. The Canelo fight weeks are great. He plays to the crowd really well. His fans are awesome. I'm thinking about the Caleb Plant situation. I'm thinking about the Ridley's Joe Saunders situation. When he gets that in his head that, you know, he's got an extra chip.
Commentator Max Kellerman broke the matchup down in detail. While recognizing both fighters' strengths, he leaned toward Crawford, citing his peak timing, switch hitting ability, and knockout power. In contrast, Canelo has shown signs of slowing down, especially in movement and aggression. Still, Kellerman acknowledged that Canelo's size could play a big role in close exchanges. But overall, he viewed Crawford as the sharper, more complete fighter.
Punching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of, if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford. But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guy.
Yeah. You briefly mentioned Canelo's power, so who I would assume Canelo has the
You'd have to think, unless Crawford, Crawford was on a knockout streak until he moved up to junior middleweight and then failed to stop Madrimov. So, and Canelo, though he has not stopped anyone in a while, we've seen he's a real puncher at 68.
As far as speed, who has a better speed?
You would imagine Crawford, given the fact that he is the naturally small.
The dynamics of this super fight are intriguing. Crawford is moving up in weight, a natural risk to speed and stamina. Canelo, though experienced at this level, is no longer the explosive knockout artist of old, often relying on control instead of pressure. That levels the playing field. If Crawford brings his elite footwork, ring IQ, and stamina, the path to victory is clear.
For Canelo, obviously at 168, he has been a bit of the smaller man at that weight class. And in the last couple of years has had trouble finishing opponents and getting guys out of there like he would have at 160 or 154. So you have a bit of a duality there. Both guys coming into this fight in the, let's say, twilight of their careers, or maybe twilight of their primes, however you want to look at it. Canelo is going to be, I think, 35. Terence is 38. So you have a similar situation, different paths, and different struggles for both fighters. But when you look at who has to do more in this fight, it's clearly Terence Crawford, as far as what he's giving up and sacrificing to win this third undisputed championship and to try to beat Canelo, who has only been beat twice in his career, one of which was Floyd Mayweather being slick and tagging Canelo with counter punches when Canelo missed, being the smaller, lighter fighter and up there in age that was still able to take advantage of the youth and experience of Canelo Alvarez, but also just being a defensive maestro and able to counter off of that. Floyd is one of one. And then you have Dimitri Bivol, who was the bigger fighter, and the things that Canelo does very well didn't really hurt him too bad, right? The things that had carried Canelo up in division was his power and the ability to break an opponent down, maybe not stopping them in the early to mid part.
Rising star Abdullah Mason backed Crawford with confidence, predicting not just a win, but a shocking one. He argued that Crawford's underrated power, generated through timing, angles, and precision, might surprise fans more than Canelo's size. If Crawford lands clean late in the fight, Mason believes the upset is real.
Also, Canelo Crawford, your prediction quickly.
Canelo Crawford. I got faith that Crawford could take it. I feel like Crawford, he might surprise some people with his strength. So it all depends on who's the better fighter.
Dimitri Bivol, who recently defeated Canelo, added his voice. He praised Crawford's bulked-up frame, discipline, and intelligence, saying those tools could carry him to victory. Coming from someone who's beaten Canelo, Bivol's words add serious weight to the notion that Crawford has a real chance.
In Dubai, maybe a month ago, I saw him. He's big, and he has very good skills. He's one of my favorite boxers. He able to win this fight, but there is a lot of but, and even not but, there is a lot of things, small things, which we don't know how he will deal with this. he needs to get used to the power and pressure of 168 because it's different, big difference, to be honest. Maybe he will get used to it, and how he will be feeling himself on the same day when he will fighting, how his training camp will go on, a lot of things. But he's able, he has good skills, he's awkward, he can use 2 boxing stance. It gives him benefits, of course.
I was at that same event in Dubai just before Christmas, and I saw him too, and I thought exactly the same thing, which is that he is quite big.
Yeah.
Size obviously is important. Jermell Charlo stepped up from super welterweight to super middleweight to box Canelo, and it didn't work at all for him. But Crawford is, I mean, he's one of the best fighters in the world, isn't he? I mean, obviously.
Keith Thurman offered a technical angle, pointing out that in Canelo's fight with Jermell Charlo, movement and ring IQ gave him trouble. Thurman argued that Crawford, who was even more strategic and cerebral than Charlo, could exploit those same weaknesses, perhaps even more effectively.
And, you know, we ain't getting punched in the face, so let's just watch the show and enjoy, people. You know what I'm saying? Let's just watch what these champions do. No matter what they do, they're both great. They're both going to continue to be great, but by the end of the day, one will be above the other.
Your eyes?
It's not like, I think a lot of people are going to lean towards Canelo. I don't want to say it's like, I feel like for the fans, it's coming off 50-50. Like it's hard for me to really commit, because this is what happened, right? When Canelo just fought the Charlo, right? When he just fought Charlo, he knocked Charlo down. But after he knocked Charlo down and Charlo was using ring movement, he never hit Charlo with another big shot, okay? This is what Keith Thurman is watching. I'm not saying like, oh, Canelo didn't do good. Like, Canelo dominated. That fight he dominated, right? But let's just pay attention to little details, right? After he got dropped, he never got hurt again. Why, you ask? Why did Canelo not hurt him again? Oh, because he was on his bike, because he was using lateral movement, because he was watching with his eyes, and because he was being, you know, attentive with his defense, and he was able to make Canelo miss, but he was not able to make him pay.
On his podcast, Joe Rogan, joined by comedian Mike Vecchione, praised Crawford's skills, mentality, and work ethic. Rogan called him one of the greatest boxers alive and said this fight is both a challenge and a legacy-defining opportunity. Crawford himself acknowledged the size gap, expecting Canelo to use weight and pressure, but remained calm and confident. He stressed his adaptability and preparation, showing the humility and belief that make him so dangerous.
Good, you know, work has been going great, and, you know, fight time, we're going to be prepared to put on a great show for you guys.
Has this been in your mind? We've been talking about it forever. Did you feel like this was eventually going to be the case, that you and Canelo were going to eventually get in there?
Not at all. Not at all. I didn't, you know, think it was, you know, a fight that he wanted. So I didn't really know. But, you know, thanks to Turkey, Al-Sheikh, he made it possible. And, you know, we got one of the biggest fights in the last decade, you know, happening at Allegiant Stadium, September 13th.
When you get in there, what do you expect? Everyone's going to make, you know, a size difference, but what do you expect when you get in there with Canelo?
I'm expecting Canelo to be Canelo. You know, he's the bigger man. I expect him to, you know, box a little bit, but I also expect him, you know, to try to walk me down and be the bigger man. So, you know, we expect everything in there.
I was looking it up, and I think the last time Bud Crawford was an underdog for a fight was the Prescott fight back in 2013. Any difference? Do you even pay attention to odds, or that doesn't matter to you when you step in there into the ring that night?
No, it definitely don't matter. You know, the odds came fight for him. So, you know, it is what it is.
Actor and martial artist Michael Jai White also sided with Crawford. He explained that Crawford has consistently handled bigger opponents by neutralizing their advantages with strategy. For White, this fight is simply another test and one Crawford is well prepared for.
So you would put your money on Crawford?
Yes.
You make money.
Okay.
Let's put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think Crawford's going to beat him?
Because Crawford could find people to fight like Canelo, who is amazing. Canelo has he's, oh my God, like he evolved. I saw how he evolved defensively and everything. I just don't think he's as fast as Crawford. And I think Crawford is just a little step ahead as far as movement is concerned. And so I think it's going to be Mayweather Canelo Part 2. That's what I think.
I mean, Canelo is naturally heavy.
Yeah, Crawford ain't gonna knock him out. But I don't know if Canelo's gonna land very solidly on Crawford.
Calvin Ford, trainer of Gervonta Davis, praised Crawford's courage. He emphasized that taking a fight where the odds and size are stacked against you requires a special mentality. For Ford, Crawford's willingness to chase greatness, even in risky situations, sets him apart from the rest.
This is Ford. Last question for you. Crawford, Canelo, who wins? Man, both of them guys are great. I respect Canelo. I respect Crawford to jump in and take a big fight like that, and that's what makes great fights, to see the big fights and wondering which side gonna win. But like I said, they say Canelo's the GOAT. I remember when Canelo fought Floyd, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like we're getting another chance at seeing Crawford.
Trainer Robert Garcia gave a candid take on Canelo's current style. He explained that Canelo no longer pushes for knockouts like before. Instead, he conserves energy, wins rounds, and avoids unnecessary damage. While effective, this slower pace could play right into Crawford's hands if he capitalizes on it.
It's because Canelo doesn't go out for the knockout anymore. Canelo's just now, you know, we've seen in the last few fights, he just does enough to win. He did the same against Munguia. He dropped Munguia, but then they didn't want to finish him. Charlo, Berlanga. He wants to cruise through the fight. You know, he's up there, you know, and not in age because he's only like 33 or 34, but he's
fighting since 15.
15. A lot of training camps, a lot of sparring matches. So all that takes a lot out of your body. So he takes care of his body too. So he doesn't go all out because he doesn't want to just finish his body. He knows he still has a few more years and a few big fights where he wants to take care of himself and not punish himself too much. That's why he hasn't been able to knock those guys out. Not because he can't. I think he just does enough to win. I think Shiraz also has great power, man. I think Shiraz.
And that wraps up today's breakdown. Stay tuned for more updates on this mega showdown.